near the ball. Canterbury's form has been patchy. They followed wins over Wests and East with a disappointing effort against Parramatta. Chris Anderson has dropped a couple of players, made a number of positional changes, but he's still missing the injured Bruce Maguire. Packing into the second row is Darren Smith. Another key player is Jared McCracken. The Kiwi centre gives the Bulldog backline real thrust. Both teams have been inconsistent, but the Canterbury forwards, without Maguire, will have to fire up to match Penrith's pack, Arthur.
Well, about 4 weeks ago here at Belmore, we saw the Canterbury pack deal with a much vaunted Western Suburbs pack. So on a given day, they can handle any side. But today they're facing a Penrith pack who will be fired up by Mark Guy, who will be trying to force his way back to the New South Wales side. Also look to the ever-improving ball skills of Simon Gillies to cause Penrith a few problems. But I favour Penrith today because of that steamrolling pack in what should be a close one.
And keep an eye on the battle of the 5/8s, Lamb versus Carter, as the Bulldogs take on the Panthers.
From Darwin in the north to Mount Newman in the west, across Australia, you're watching the country's premier rugby league competition, live and uninterrupted on ABC Television, your national network.
Clouds up above, it's a fairly dark sky and a fairly strong wind blowing, Johnny Peard.
Yes, Warren, very cool conditions and that wind coming from the south. Now that'll favour Penrith in the first half. Now the Bulldogs generally save their best for here at Belmore Oval. Let's see how they handle the champions today. They're running into the wind first half. It should be very interesting.
Not a huge crowd here because of the chilly conditions, but King Lamb is the shout from that section of the Canterbury crowd, and they're certainly enthusiastic supporters because, as I say, the temperatures are down and you've got to be a keen supporter to be here rather than sitting at home watching on television. The Bulldogs on their way, led out by Terry Lamb, the grittiest Bulldog of them all. And the lineup at fullback is Ewan McGrady. On one wing, Paul Doolan in the team for Matthew Ryan. Andrew Patmore and Jared McCracken in the centre. Jason Williams on the other wing. Terry Lamb 5'8". Craig Polomounta in at halfback. Simon Gillies at lock forward. Steve Reardon comes into the second row for Bruce Maguire. Darren Smith, the other second rower. Gavin Hill, Sean Skelton and Mark Brokenshire, the front row. The coach, Chris Anderson. He's a grizzly-looking Panther, isn't he? A few of his whiskers are a bit bent up. John Cartwright captaining the Panthers today. And Greg Alexander, again out of action. Mark Geyer did captain them a couple of weeks ago. Maybe the coach feels Geyer can perform better if he doesn't have the worries of the captaincy. Paul Clark, last man out of the tunnel. At fullback, it's Andrew Leeds. On one wing, Glenn Nissen for Graham Mackay. Cole Bentley and Brad Fittler, the centres. Paul Smith on the other wing. Steve Carter at 5'8". Ben Alexander at halfback. Originally selected at hooker. Lock forward, Colin Vandervoort. Second row pairing, Cartwright and Geyer. In the front row, Barry Walker, Darren Toot and Paul Clark. The coach is Phil Gould. There's Barry Walker standing alongside Mark Geyer, two men fired up for a big effort. And the national anthem to be sung by Debbie Robinson, Miss Red Shield. Debbie Robinson in fine voice. And tomorrow, the Salvation Army appeal. Give generously to the Salvos. They do such a great job. Our referee today is Eddie Ward. And the Bulldogs winning the toss, electing to run into the breeze in the first half. And they hope to come home with it at their backs. Leeds gets play underway deep with that wind behind him to Jason Williams, a former South Sydney winger, and he makes a break straight away up to the 22 where he's tackled by Toot. Great start for the Bulldogs. Williams should never have been allowed to escape like that. This is Gillies. These two teams have met 21 times since 1983, and Canterbury have won 13 of that 21, so they have the wood. There's Mark Geyer into the action solidly in defence.
Mark Geyer's come up with two tremendous hits in a row.
And a deep kick into the wind, picks up good ground. Polamaunda at half-back today.
Yeah, we've seen Polamaunda's kicking game against Western Suburbs, and he's gained a lot of yards just through this wonderful kicking game that he possesses.
In the under-21s, it was a win to the Bulldogs, 24-16. And in reserve grade, Canterbury came from behind to win 16-12. So the two lower grade teams winning at home. Here's Cole Bentley, rounded up by the Bulldog defence. In the last 10 meetings at Belmore between these two teams, Canterbury have won 7 of the 10. Eddie Ward gives the first penalty of the match to Penrith.
And here's a penalty against Simon Gillies here, as we see someone just pulling down the tackle player in the ruck area there, so Simon Gillies at fault.
Leeds.
And these penalties be very costly for Canterbury, Warren, because with this wind you can put another 20 yards on the kick, so that's another 20 plus the ball they're up against with their penalties.
Here's Paul Clark from the tap. It's always a debate when you win the toss. Do you take the wind while it's there in the first half, or do you hope that your defence can hold out for 40 minutes and then come home with that added advantage in the second half?
Yeah, I was just wondering what the policy was at East, Jack. Seems to be a changing trend nowadays, that once upon a time you took the advantages.
Yes, but I guess the first 20 minutes, Arthur, the defences move up very quickly. And there's a chance that you can hold them for 20. And then psychologically, they probably think, we've got to get points on the board, and at half-time you may have a psychological advantage. I think that's the only reasoning behind it.
And Gavin Hill did well for Canterbury, charging down or rebounding the Carter kick and then regathering it for Canterbury. Here's Polamaunda, Lamb, McGrady up in the line, Smith running wide. Got a cuff across the face from Van der Voort, but it wasn't dangerous. Gillies hits it up on the blind side, just short of halfway.
As we saw about 4 weeks ago against West, Canterbury playing this game very wide of the ruck, spreading the ball. So a great offload there.
Steve Reardon it was. Now it's Lamb. Hill standing wide. Carter behind him. He flings it back to McGrady. On it goes now with Pat Moore. Well, adventurous football from the Bulldogs here. 5th tackle, 10 metres inside Penrith's half. Lamb puts the kick up into the wind. Leeds takes it well, just out from his own goal line.
Yeah, very poor kick there by Terry Lamb. I thought he would have been well served in putting the ball high in the air, because he did have a great chasing side.
Yes, Arthur, there's never been a kick too high.
Penrith trying to work it out, and Paul Clark goes without it. Reardon has it for Canterbury.
And once again, great pressure there by Simon Gillies.
Seemed to be some indecision. Clark not really ready for that pass. 5 metres out. Looking for the early try. Polamaunda darts ahead. Going close. Had support too in Gillies. Lamb one off the ruck. McGrady pops it through. McCracken chasing. He was knocked around on the way through.
Yeah, this is
and gets the penalty.
Well, it's a strange penalty, because I thought that McCracken was definitely offside. So had he chased that kick, it was a great idea there. McGrady saw that the outside backs were coming up, but put the little grubber through. But if we have a look, we'll find, I'm almost certain that it was touch and go, but he was locked out there by the Penrith defence.
Ben Alexander got back to cover the ball. It was touch and go also whether McCracken was interfered with. He certainly was squeezed between two players. I don't know whether they moved in on him. Graham Mackay has been in very strong form for New South Wales, but he has that broken finger, injured in the first half on Wednesday night, giving Glenn Nissen the chance on the wing. Let's have a look at the head-on shot of this kick through and see whether McCracken has interfered with.
Well, there's a little grubber there by, and it's touch and go, isn't it? They're both going for McCracken. They're both defenders.
Yes. Difficult decision. Either way, the referee's right or wrong, depending on which team you're barracking for.
Jason Williams was unmarked then. I think McGrady made up his mind to kick. Perhaps he could have changed his mind if he was a genius.
This is Gavin Hill to attempt the penalty. He hits it well, and it curls just inside that upright. The wind got hold of it, but it's the first points on the board. Canterbury lead 2-0. Well, that penalty, I suppose, controversial in some ways. Greg Alexander, they thought that he might be right for this game. He was named in the side, but he's delayed his comeback from that knee injury. He's been out for a month. Hopefully right next week. Leeds. Again with the breeze, easily down to the goal line. Williams decides to give someone else a chance to run it up. Gavin Hill, and he bounces out of a couple of tackles. Fittler was one of the first up there. Gillies, he's taking it up, one out. Gillies like a front rower. In attack this season, these two teams dead even, 108 points each. And Penrith not impressed with that, I'm sure. Against Canterbury, well, conceding far more points in defence. Penrith have been solid in that area. Here's McCracken. Lamb backing up to the halfway line. Gets it back to Doolan.
A tremendous play there by Canterbury. On the fourth play, they ran the ball wide, and they're going to spread it. No, there's a kick here by Terry Lamb.
Lamb saw that Leeds wasn't deep. There's no one back there. And even into the wind, it just goes dead in goal. Already Phil Gould would have to be concerned by the breaks that have been made in the Penrith defence. You can see that wind is very strong too. 21 kilometres an hour into the face of Canterbury.
Well, Penrith, they compressed their defence, and on that occasion they were caught out wide.
Chewed in a dummy half, gets it to Geyer, swept upon by Gillies, Brokenshire and Reardon.
Of course, running into the wind, Warren, it encourages you to use your hands rather than your feet. And that's good. It gives them a bit of confidence. They've broken the Penrith line a couple of times now. Good inside pass by Patmore then. A good support play.
Vandervoort quickly up to the defence. Picks up 10 metres, just short of halfway. Back to Ben Alexander. He kicks low. You'd think that he'd be putting it up higher. Doolan is back there.
Of course, one of the areas that they do miss Greg Alexander, and there's a penalty here against the Penrith side against inside the 10. So one of the areas that they do miss Greg Alexander is his great kicking game. Ben Alexander is certainly a great fill-in, but he doesn't possess the great kicking game that Greg Alexander has.
And this kick hasn't found touch. Bad mistake by Canterbury. Taken by Bentley. Shoot, just short of halfway. Clark.
And here's a terrible statistic for Phil Gill, 7 missed tackles, and don't I know about the missed tackles after last week.
Yeah, they look even worse on the video.
Can't afford to ever go, Arthur, because we meet you twice, don't we? Or maybe next year.
Shoot in a dummy half, calling them off him. Here's Fittler coming into the action. Bentley, good ball it was too from Fittler to Bentley. Put him in some space, but Doolan came from his wing to make the tackle. Ben Alexander. Again, that's a low kick and straight into Polomata's hands. It was touched in flight.
Yeah, once again, you wonder at not putting the ball up high in the air. They had good field position there inside Canterbury's half, and they just should have put that ball, hoisted that ball right into the air and tested out Ewan McGrady with the bomb.
It's interesting to see that Ben Alexander has been given the kicking role rather than Steve Carter. Carter, a good tactical kicker. Polomauta, long ball for Lamb, gives him some room to move. McGrady loves that. Here's McCracken, got support, but Patmore, well, the ball went straight through them all over the touchline.
Yeah, Patmore was a little bit flat there. As we see a couple of beautiful cutout passes. We see the decoy runner onto Ewan McGrady, who turns Bentley, and he gets past his man McCracken, but he has Patmore outside. He had the overlap there, and unfortunately the ball didn't go to its receiver.
Brad Izzard, number 40, Brad Izzard, he's going on for Steve Carter.
And Carter trudging from the field. It's interesting to see Glenn Nissen coming off his wing as Canterbury made that raid down the far side. There's Carter. It doesn't appear to be injured. You might be able to check up for us, John, whether he is suffering any strains from Wednesday night.
Yeah, he's limping slightly, Warren.
Well, the rear cone said that hamstring problem.
He's wearing the tights, so he's obviously a little concerned about the injury in the first place.
True. Pute to play it. So Alexander goes into dummy half. Fittler stepping. He's strong, Fittler, but that's a good tackle from Reardon, knocking him back. Alexander kicking. And easily taken by Jason Williams. Well, Ben Alexander's kicking is going to have to improve on that.
Well, obviously it's a concern for coach Phil Gill.
Particularly now that Carter's gone off, so there goes one of his other options. Andrew Leeds, of course, also can kick at fullback. Gavin Hill up the middle. 5 minutes short of halfway. Skelton to Lamb, to McGrady. McCracken. Back to McGrady. Good ball from McCracken. McGrady wants a quick play the ball. Thought about going forward himself. And Skelton gets the pass away, but Penrith are up inside the 5. Lamb with a quick tap. Wants to take them on quickly. Holding it up for Williams. Finds the opening to Darren Smith. 20 metres out. Good attacking play by Canterbury. Aggression, taking the game to the opposition. Gillies, Lamb. Plenty of urgency in the Bulldogs. Reardon back to Lamb. Keeps it alive. Gillies. Polomauta. Finding a little hole. Polomauta straight through, and he's over for the try. Great burst by the little halfback. Former rugby union player, in fact a former Australian schoolboys rugby union player in 1990. But plenty of credit to his teammates. They created the chance there. They really moved that ball around. Penrith simply couldn't stop them. It all goes back to the tap taken quickly by Lamb, and then this sustained attack. Here's Lamb to Gillies. He keeps it alive to Polomauta. They look to have him covered. They should have made the tackle. Leeds missed one. And through goes Polomauta for the first try of the match.
Yeah, put it down to the quick thinking of Terry Lamb, who took the quick tap and had the momentum going. But when the ball was switched back here, I thought that Polomauta made the mistake of not turning the ball back into Ewan McGrady, but he puts down the pedal, the accelerator. I thought that Barry Walker could have got a hold in there, but tremendous pace shown by Polomauta.
Hesitation by a number of players in defence.
Yeah, the ball spread across to the left, and there we see Gillies holding off the defence, cutting back again once again. Terry Lamb cuts back to his right once again. We see Ewan McGrady cut back inside there. I thought that Barry Walker could have made the tackle there.
Barry Walker held off. So too then did Andrew Leeds was beaten by the hesitation. And also Cole Bentley left behind. Former Ipswich Grammar player Craig Polomauta was a member of the Canterbury under-21 premiers last season. The conversion was successful and Canterbury lead 8 points to 0.
Well, at the moment they're just running, Canterbury are running Penrith ragged. They're just spreading the ball from side to side and finding holes, especially up in the centre three-quarters.
It obviously looks like it's been a set plan, Arthur. There seems to be some holes down either side, but I'd like to give that Reardon a compliment. He's a very improving young player, and he's come up with a couple of good offloads. He did so then to Terry Lamb. Young lad from Temora, really going places in this game.
30 metres out from their own line now with Darren Smith. And there's been a baby boom this morning in these two teams. Darren Smith's wife has had a baby, and so too has Steve Carter's. So congratulations to Kelly Smith and Carla Carter. But Darren Smith only arrived at the ground some 45 minutes before the game started. He'd been with his wife this morning.
We see Jason Williams questioning the referee's decisions, saying that they were onside, but referee Eddie Ward not having anything to do with that, claiming that they were inside the 10.
Leads to look for touch. Picks up good ground with a narrow angle.
And there we see the statistic. The missed tackles, number 11 of them by Penrith. No wonder they're behind 8-0.
Well, so far it's all Canterbury. They're far more enthusiastic than Penrith, and their tactics have been far superior. Smith in centre field. Clark. Alexander. Geyer charging through. Slips it back inside to Vandervoort. On it goes to Leeds. Great tackle from behind, and referee Ward has found a forward pass.
And rightly so. The pass was just a touch forward, but one of the problems with the referees at the moment is their inability to adjudicate properly on forward passes. And to his credit, Eddie Ward has picked up this pass from Vandervoort.
Yeah, good refereeing. Also good attack from Penrith, though, their most promising burst. There's no doubt about Geyer. If he can't break the line with his power and pace, he's such a tall man and a long reach, he can slip a pass. Back on their 22. Brokenshire hits it up. Now it's Skelton. Pollamouter, here they go, working it wide with these long passes. McGrady. Back into Doolan. And Fittler read it well in defence. Gavin Hill. Straight and hard.
Very good yards by Gavin Hill. He's a convert from Union, and he's certainly making fine progress.
Here's another rugby convert. Pollamouter with the kick, which bounces away from Leeds. Gives the chasers a chance to get down there. And the good tackle from Gillies. And McCracken. Metres gained, all Canterbury, 457 to 193.
News from the Penrith room, Warren. Carter's got hamstring problems. I don't think we'll see him again today, so maybe he might get an early mark to go and visit his wife in hospital.
That hamstring has been troubling Steve Carter for a month or two. Here's Geyer spinning out of tackles. Held eventually, though. No way through. Good chasing down from Terry Lamb. Cartwright. Good ball for Walker. But over the top comes Brokenshire. Strong defence.
That's what they've got to do, I think. With Penrith, with a bit of height in their forwards, they tend to take advantage of low tackles and try and offload. But here's a deep kick going too far, and Canterbury will get the ball on the 22 line.
Previously, Alexander's kicks had been too short, that one too long.
And more importantly, they'll soak up another 30 seconds as they take the time to get back on side.
Chris Anderson.
With his minders.
Sandwiched in the front row there. Skelton, Sean Skelton, taking his time.
It's a high tackle from Geyer. The two big men there clashing, Geyer and Gavin Hill. Geyer, of course, about 6'4" in the old scale, and Gavin Hill about 6'3".
Skelton on the blind to Pollamouter. Reardon's getting through plenty of work. Reardon was dropped after the loss to Parramatta, but he's making the most of his opportunity with Maguire still not fit. Lamb decides he'll kick.
And this time McCracken and Carroll onside. A good tackle there by McCracken.
Leeds felt the smash of that tackle. Looks like Brokenshire down. Smith. Walker.
Strange tactic, John, also that they're running into the breeze, Canterbury, but Ewan McGrady is electing to sweep very close to the front line.
Yeah, I guess if they put the big one in, it could go over the back like Alexander's last kick. They're probably guarding against that short one, Arthur.
Well, they're pretty good tactics, really, as you said, that they too put it up too high, it will go dead.
He's back now, waiting for the high kick. He move into it. Here's a short side play by Penrith.
A good pass back inside, or an adventurous pass at least. Cartwright couldn't hang on to it. So Canterbury come up with it once more. And they've certainly been on the right end of most of the errors here as Brad Izzard makes the tackle. Izzard, a fresh reserve on the field for Carter.
I think Canterbury are using McGrady very intelligently. When they got the ball, he doesn't stay at fullback. He just parks himself in the back line. That gives them extra strike power.
John Cartwright coming in with a jolting tackle to try and stir up his own players to lift their defensive rate. Here they go wide once more. McGrady outside Vandervoort, but he came again. Fifth tackle coming up. Bentley also there in defence.
Yeah, once again they created a 3-on-2 situation there. Had you and McGrady been able to offload quickly enough, they would have had the winger in trouble.
There's a real willingness to go down that left side, Arthur. Perhaps Glenn Nissen, being a former Canterbury player and used to that up and in defence, he seems to be coming off his wing. It creates some overlaps there down that left-hand side. But a penalty to Penrith, and now Canterbury will have to soak up some pressure.
And this is the second penalty for the same offence against Simon Gillies. We see that tackle being made there by Brokenshire, and Gillies flopping in over the top there. There's an extra hand there just to help hold his head there.
Bit of a facial. 30 metres out. Penrith down 8-0. We've had 20 minutes of play. Alexander, Walker, or that might be Nissen in fact, in from the wing. Clark, Alexander, Geyer.
Great tackle there by Terry Lamb.
Cartwright looms up down the blind side. Vandervoort. Only 20 metres out now. Shooter dummy half. Alexander. Clark. Quick hands. Fiddler. Trying to spin and get the pass away, but they hold on to him well. Fifth tackle. Still 20 metres out. Geyer on the last. Tried to slip it away to Bentley, but it's gone wide.
It's a very good defensive effort by Canterbury. They seem to be smothering anything that Penrith can produce.
And that's the difference between with the absence of Greg Alexander in that position. He would have been one off the ruck, directing the play. Instead, they seemed a little hesitant, and in the end it was Geyer who decided that he would try and make something of it.
There's some confusion on the sixth tackle. I think they haven't had a great deal of possession, particularly down there, to have a crack at Canterbury.
It's a great play, the ball there by Terry Lamb.
Yeah, and they would have been far better, I think, to try and get in a position where they could get a restart. Perhaps on the toe with a good chase.
And Polomouta drives them back into the wind, down to the Penrith 22.
Yes, very intelligent football by Canterbury. Quick play the ball by Terry Lamb, and we see Polomouta just putting in a great kick there.
Nissen can only watch it hit that sideline. Time in possession, Canterbury 12 minutes, Penrith 10. We saw the metres gained a little while ago, so even though they've only had an extra 2 minutes of possession, Canterbury are doing a lot more with that ball.
It's just that lately Warren Penrith's had a little more possession. They've made a few odd breaks, something like that, where the bigger men are slipping the balls to the half-backs and the likes of Bentley, Izzard, and this man.
Fiddler gets a ball away. Vandervoort can't take it. Referee said it went back. Well, not too sure about that.
Yeah,
That was a
it was a
racket.
knock-on.
Geyer throws it back. Bentley. In comes the tackle of Lamb.
A great lock-up by Terry Lamb. You've got to take your hat off to this fella. Most consistent player I think we've ever seen in the Sydney competition.
It's interesting with Steve Carter off the field. The New South Wales selectors will be looking for a reserve. They may go back to Robbie McCormack if Carter is unable to take his place. But Terry Lamb would never let you down in that position off the bench, and hasn't in the past for New South Wales.
We see a much better kick here by Ben Alexander as he puts that ball in low there, and they have a chance now if they can win a ball against the head.
Scrum packing only 9 metres out. At this stage of the season in 1991, Penrith had not lost a game. They'd drawn one, but they had won 6 out of their 7 matches. It's a different story this season for the Premiers, winning 4, losing 3 to date. Also have to remember that Canterbury made a playoff for 5th last season. People tend to forget that they were so close to making the semi-finals. have lost one more game than Penrith so far this year.
Much better defence here by Penrith.
Yeah, there's Luke Goodwin on the sideline, the son of Ted Goodwin, a former St George player. He loves his football the same as Dad did.
On the last, Lamb kicking. It's charged down, attempted by Walker. Nissen to bring it back. Lamb tries the ankle tap. Smith gets hold of him. Darren Smith making his Origin debut on Wednesday night. Only had the 10 minutes or so, but didn't do anything wrong. Clark. Midway between the Canterbury quarter and halfway. Walker. Been a battle for selection among the front rowers for Penrith, with Walker, Clark and Paul Dunn all vying for the starting positions as Fittler hits it on the burst. He's got support close. Bentley for the line. Chased by Williams, sliding on his back. Now he gets it down. Forcing it backwards. Lamb slid past. Initially, Bentley landing on his back. If the tacklers had been able to stay on top of him, they could have held him up. 8-4 in favour of Canterbury. Good attacking burst here as Cartwright slips it inside to Fittler. He breaks the tackle of Reardon. He has support close in Bentley. Lamb and Williams close on him. Williams tackles him. Lamb slid past and Bentley forces it.
Yeah, Freddie Fittler has worked up a great combination with John Cartwright, and we see him cut back inside. The tackle missed there by Steve Reardon, but we see Bentley position himself beautifully there, and he just slides over. Momentum carrying Bentley over for the try. It was a great, much-needed try, wasn't it?
Certainly was. Cole Bentley represented country seconds in 1985 from Coogin originally. Andrew Leeds, the former Parramatta player, having a good season with Penrith. And he moves into this from close at hand and makes no mistake. So Penrith hit back. Canterbury still leading 8 points to 6. 13 minutes remaining in the first half.
Yes, a little more possession is helping the Penrith side. Here's a backline move. Cartwright goes wide, and of course inside's Fittler. That's a bad miss by Skelton, but Reardon, but he can make people miss this fella Fittler, and Bentley's good enough to slide over. That's got them back in nicely.
McGrady will only get it just inside the Penrith 22. Well taken by Geyer. McGrady playing at fullback today. That was one of Chris Anderson's decisions, to move McGrady from half-back to fullback. He's been shuffled in and out of those two positions this season. Cartwright is leading from the front. In the last 10 minutes, he realised that Penrith weren't firing early in this game. Here's Geyer.
John, that probably try was the result of more possession.
Yep, that's exactly what's happened. The tide's turned a little bit there, and these big men, you know, it's very hard to put them on the ground without slipping balls. But Cartwright did well. He brought the defence across, but Reardon did his job. He trailed the inside, but he was just up against a superior athlete at the time.
And Skelton dives on the loose Barry Walker pass to come up with it for Canterbury. They've got another 6 tackle. Been touched again as Reardon plays it back. Brokenshire has recovered from the injury. 32 metres out. Polomauta, Lamb, back to his half-back, dumbing 2 runners, but Fittler had moved up on McGrady, who is the intended receiver. Dropped by Gillies. Izzard has it. Burley Brad Izzard gets his arms free. Bentley. Nissen. Turning defence into attack quickly.
Very slow to recover, Canterbury.
Goodwin's on the field. Luke Goodwin.
Yeah, he's on for Chute the hooker, with Ben Alexander moving to hooker.
Clark. Striving to break the line. Penrith now 30 metres out. Goodwin, long ball for Geyer. He took that well. Back to Goodwin. Geyer did well to hang on to that.
An equally good tackle there by Craig Polomauta.
Smith. 5th tackle. 25 metres out. Here's Goodwin. Grubbering through. McGrady untroubled to take it. But Bentley's down on him, and Cole Bentley doesn't miss many tackles. Not the biggest centre in the competition, but he's a tough competitor, Cole Bentley.
And there we see the top tackles for both sides. Darren Smith leading the way for Canterbury, closely followed by Terry Lamb. And Darren Chute, the hooker, leading the way with 15. But a long way back, John Cartwright and Cole Vandervoort.
And Chute now off the field after working hard early on. Lamb pops a little kick through. Back goes Nissen, covers it well. Doolan right on top of him, waiting for the mistake.
Yeah, poorly placed kick there by Terry Lamb. He chipped that too far to the left, and consequently Glenn Nissen was able to cover that chip.
Yeah, I think if you're going to chip, it's got to be around centre field there. The wingers, they don't get a great deal of work, and there's plenty of time for them to use their agility and recover those type of kicks.
Clark can't hang on to it. Goes through Lamb's feet as well. Finally, Darren Smith picks it up.
Yeah, they could rue those mistakes. Penrith, they had good field position there, and they've come up with a couple of mistakes.
Because we've got a former Canterbury influence in the Penrith side, in the coach Phil Gould and Paul Dunn on the bench. And that ball has been lost by Brokenshire. A little too ambitious with his pass. Izzard now.
Great tackle there by Terry Lamb on Izzard.
Vandervoort flat off the dummy half.
And Warren, talking about Canterbury influences, I'd like to send a cheerio to Justin Goldspink at Wagga. He's been fairly ill lately, and he's the son of Colin Goldspink, an old Canterbury stalwart, and of course his uncle's Kevin Goldspink, the former Kangaroo and also a Canterbury player. So, on you, Justin.
And here's Goodwin. Vandervoort. Fifth tackle. 33 metres out. Alexander.
And Guy is offside here.
McGrady can't take it. The referee allows play to go on as Williams comes away. The referee didn't penalise Guy. Pat Moore. Well taken, ball and all, by Vandervoort.
Jason Williams, his greatest asset, he makes people miss. Gee, he does it well.
Tremendous balance, John.
Yep.
The amazing thing is, he only really hit the headlines in the last year, but Arthur, he's been around for quite a while.
Well, he had a stint at East, and he didn't do anything at East, but he's certainly putting it together now and has represented New Zealand, so he has come a long way.
There's a magnificent take by Andrew Leeds then off that kick.
10 metres short of halfway with Smith. Smith found himself in reserve grade recently for Penrith, but back up today. Justin Hare had the run against the Gold Coast. Here's Walker over the halfway line.
It's a key time now for the Canterbury side with about 8 minutes left. And that's not going to do them much good. They're going to be camped right in Canterbury's territory now. Costly penalty.
Polomauta flat on his back.
And once again, he's ruled against the player laying in the ruck here, and I'm just wondering...
Polomauta, the man coming in to make the tackle with McCracken.
And we see Gavin Hill there, but virtually the rule says that you have to at least get up off your feet there, and there's a reason why Polomauta didn't clear the ruck, is that he obviously is stunned.
Yeah, he is incapable of getting up. There's Phil Gould, New South Wales and Penrith coach, looking on. He's got a battle on his hands on both fronts at the moment.
But I think he was too happy with that kick. There was only 15 metres in it.
Walker. Penrith now 25 metres out. They are starting to dominate territory. Penrith gaining in organisation as this half has gone on. Starting to retain some possession. Alexander flicks it back inside to Goodwin. Geyer leads. Good work. Walker gets it back to Goodwin.
He's in a dangerous situation, had that ball found Barry Walker on the burst instead of having to pull up for it.
Another penalty goes to Penrith, and Darren Smith has been called up for a separate incident, I believe. Here's Gillies hanging on to Luke Goodwin.
Gillies attempted to roll loose, but Glenn Nissen just made sure he got the penalty by attracting the attention of the referee.
There's a lot of players are going to have to sign up with Actors Equity these days, aren't they? They're becoming more and more adept at the art of making sure the referee gives them the penalty, just milking it.
Well, it's virtually against the spirit of the game. But over at Carla, we don't teach our players to milk penalties.
No, I think it's only a distraction for them, a loss of concentration.
15 metres out. Smith. 10 metres out now. Penrith down by 2 points. Vandervoort goes hard. Trying to drag that defence in. It's the 5th tackle. Alexander swings it to Fittler. Freddie Fittler crashing for the line. Back to Alexander. No, double movement. Double movement as Alexander stretched out. Great pass back inside from Fittler.
It was a perhaps, and as we see Alexander trying to get over the top there, but good defence there by Skilton.
He had 3 goes at that.
They wanted Mark Geyer in that position.
It's a real speculator, that one, but very dangerous down there, the Penrith side. They're masters of that set play.
Well, this was a double movement that was never really on. He was held and had another go. The ball had made contact with the ground in the initial tackle. Everything was wrong about it.
Good set of 6 for the Panthers, but then great decoy runners out the left side, and they end up going down the right side, of course, and very nearly got away.
Penrith coming up with possession.
Another chance for the Panthers now as Izzard gets it out to Bentley, to Leeds, and Leeds has found some space, kicking ahead, but there's plenty of Canterbury players back there, and Darren Smith comes away with it.
A great cover defence by Darren Smith, but Leeds forced to kick that ball back inside as he was converged on by cover defence.
Patmore now. It's getting back to that double movement. If it had been scored by Alexander, we'd be raving about the pass from Fittler. He didn't quite make it, and so it barely gets a mention.
Yeah, we could have been onto something new, Warren. I think it was a triple movement, that one.
Here's Brokenshire bustling his way up over the 22. Good run. Just what Canterbury needed. They're on their heels at the moment. Penrith comes back from Lamb to McGrady. Williams beats a tackle. McCracken up to halfway. Great tackle from Goodwin. Touch judge has his flag in the air. Now the referee has given a penalty against a Penrith player for taking out a man. Defenders taking out one of the support players. In fact, I think it's the tackle on Williams here just a little early. There's Bentley holding him back as McCracken flung it back inside. Great attack once more from Canterbury, from their own 22 that time.
Yeah, tremendous work there by Ewan McGrady.
Gavin Hill steams ahead, 30 metres out. 2 minutes 40 seconds till half time. Canterbury leading 8-6. Patmore held by Vandervoort. Polomata. Reardon goes straight through. Izzard gets him from behind. Tackle that had to be made. Lamb wants it on the blind. Chasing it through. Lamb will go close. Lamb has been knocked over or lost his footing. Gillies chasing it through, but saved by Nissen.
The linesman is in here, and I think that he's ruled that Lamb has been taken out.
Lamb saw that there was no one back. Now watch. In fact, it was Geyer just giving him a nudge with the shoulder. Fittler also tried the trip. Fittler thought that his leg was invisible, that no one would see the attempted trip. But I think that's a fair penalty. Geyer made the movement towards Lamb. He could have easily avoided him.
I think Terry was auditioning for Swan Lake.
He made the most of it, that's for sure. They haven't gone for the goal. They're going for the try, Canterbury. 1 minute 30 now till half-time. Hill to play it. Brokenshire was the decoy trying to hold the forwards in there. McGrady, good tackle. Vandervoort doesn't miss many, ball and all. Polamander inside for Smith. Still going down, Smith. Williams calling for the ball on the wing. Reardon to Lamb. Lamb goes wide. Patmore to the line. Patmore's over. Great Canterbury try. They've worked hard for that one in the last few minutes. All started from that break on their own 22, some 12 tackles back. Canterbury lead 12 points to 6. Well finished off by Patmore. Reardon got it to Lamb. Lamb did some neat work here. McCracken held some defence on the inside. Patmore crashing through tackles, and Leeds unable to stop him.
And this is a set move. We see the ball go out to the right, and we see Terry Lamb drift across, and Freddie Fittler, the man at fault here, he should have drifted onto Patmore, but to Patmore's credit, he came into the gap onto the short pass by Lamb, and he just had too much strength.
Andrew Patmore scored 6 tries in his 16 first-grade games last season, an 86 Australian schoolboy. There's Penrith, who had been surging in this first half as it went on, improving minute by minute, but suddenly they find themselves back behind the posts. Gavin Hill was an all-black trialist a couple of years back. Front rower to attempt this conversion, 8 metres in from touch. Again, he'll have to aim for the right hand upright or the left hand upright as we look at it from behind the posts. The wind blowing into his face, swinging around, didn't allow enough. And as the half-time siren sounds, Canterbury scoring 2 tries to 1, and they lead at half-time by 12 points to 6.
You're watching the second half of a split round 8 of the Premiership race, coming to you live across Australia from Belmore Sports Ground on ABC Sport. Later tonight at Bundaberg in southeast Queensland, the next round of the Wide Bay 47th Battalion Memorial Trophy kicks off with the Sunshine Coast playing Bundaberg.
And that competition's been running for 20 years. The Sunshine Coast Gympie are the defending premiers. This is a top-of-the-table clash tonight at 7:30. Equal leaders, and the Bundy boys will be hard to beat at home. In the other match, Maryborough Harvey Bay will go in as favourites. Well, in the first Origin game, defence dominated attack. In Origin 2, it was the same story, with the wet weather making free passing even more difficult. Kicking and defence turned it into a slog. It was one-out stuff with only 3 clean breaks made from set play. Unspectacular, yes, but there was no doubting the will to win of both teams as they went at it head-to-head like 2 bulls.
The match was only 3 minutes old when Queensland thought they'd made a dream start. But referee Harrigan correctly ruled the last pass forward. Jackson and Bella were cautioned for disputing the decision. Then a fired-up Jackson collared Sirinen, and as the pair scuffled, Bella ran in to take on Clyde.
It's on! State of Origin has picked up her authority leaves off.
3 successive penalties to New South Wales, the last for inside the 5 in front of the posts, had Jackson and Bella howling at the referee. And in the bin for 10 minutes.
Bill Harrigan really has to keep the lid on this.
Wishart made it 2-0 to the Blues.
Wishart, no mistake, right over the black.
In the slippery conditions, Langer's short kicks applied the pressure.
Oh, touch and go. Gary
Then Shearer and Brunker put the squeeze on the Blues.
Still going. Arc-like run taken by Brunker. Brunker, not held.
In the 18th minute, a brilliant pass by Mark Coyne for Billy Moore. Queensland continued to dominate territory, but kicks were the only way through the New South Wales defence. A daily kick carried New South Wales into the opposition quarter for the first time in 20 minutes. Then Benny the Cunning, or Benny the Conman, depending on who you follow, earned a penalty. Wishart made it 2 from 2 to level the scores at 4-4 at half-time. Aided by blatant downtowning, the Blues' kicks kept Shearer busy. The Queensland tactic of returning kicks had partially worked, But in this duel with Stewart and Daly, Shearer lost 30 metres as they traded 8 kicks.
Now, New South Wales is starting to win this kicking duel. They're certainly getting the territorial advantage.
And Wishart's
comes
onside.
through. Wishart brings it back onside. So Shearer...
Man of the match, Lindner, was having a blinder in attack with surging runs. And as the forwards made ground, Langer was there to capitalise.
Into space. Long ball out to Brunker. Turn back inside.
Larson made 42 tackles and still had the energy for charge downs.
A mistake. Cleaned up by Daly.
Then Fittler was penalised for stripping the ball from Hancock. Meninga, out of form with his goal kicking, failed to break the deadlock. Jackson and Lindner created one of the few breaks. The marker, Carter, was caught napping by Meninga. Both teams had dropsy. In the final 18 minutes, the Maroons spilled the ball 7 times and the Blues dropped it 4 times. With 9 minutes to go, Stewart's field goal attempt shaved the posts. And with 7 to go, Stewart had a second shot. With 2 minutes to go, Fittler lost the ball on the first tackle.
He tries to step, but it's not enough. It's conducive.
With only 1 minute remaining, from 20 metres out, Langer kicked the first field goal of his career.
Langer has broken the deadlock.
Queensland levelled the series with a 5-4 victory.
Well, I can't believe the lack of...
Bob Lindner was a deserving man of the match, with Langer not far behind in attack. But in a game dominated by defence, the heroes were Billy Moore and Gary Larson for Queensland, and for New South Wales, Bradley Clyde. Well, on the club scene, a split round 8 continued last night at Newcastle. Balmain scored 2 tries midway through the first half.
Davis for Sinclair, crashes on his outside. The kid does it himself. Oh, how good is he? How good is this kid?
And an Elias field goal eventually proved the difference.
Goes for the drop goal. Cheeky, but good. Yes. Well, Alan Langer...
A very good win to Balmain at Newcastle. 11 points to 10. Balmain's 4th win in a row and Newcastle's 3rd loss in a row. Time for From the Vault, and we often take for granted the superb conditions in which our grounds are maintained these days. 10 or 20 years ago, it wasn't always so. As Steve Rebilliard reports, Redfern Oval was a mess on a wet and windy day in May 1974.
It was a wet and windy afternoon when the Rabbitohs and the Blue Bags faced off, and it only deteriorated as the match wore on. Souths running right to left created the best of the early chances, only to watch fullback Eric Sims lose it over the line.
Van Gulik playing it. This is Sims. Sims from dummy half. He's there and lost the ball. He lost the ball.
Maybe Union star David Campese is a closet Newtown fan, because John Floyd certainly appears to produce an early form of the goose step, running it out from his own in goal.
Into the field of play, only just.
Eric Sims took the chance to partly atone for his previous mistake when he booted Souths to a 2-0 lead after 10 minutes.
The man of his ability with the boot. He adds the, well, in fact, scores the first 2 points of the match.
The conditions were atrocious, but Floyd was one of several to show outstanding skills with flick passes like this one.
Floyd over halfway. Bradstock.
Both defences were holding well, and luck was needed to cross the line. That luck fell to Souths with this quite extraordinary try.
Up the ground, a chance. Mooney, he'll score. A score. Siren is sounding.
5-0, and that was the way it stayed, but Newtown took it to Souths right up to and after the siren.
Not yet, it's not. Play allowed to continue, and that is full time. No, it's not yet, a penalty. And quite fairly given too, because that South Sydney player, Van Gulik, came around in front of the man to touch the ball. He came from an offside position. Wilson taking the up and under, being chased through by Pringle. Sims is waiting. Sims, safe as ever, wins the game for South Sydney.
No joy for Newtown on a day and at a ground hardly conducive to fast, open football.
South Sydney defeating Newtown by 5 points to 0.
By contrast, the 23rd of May 1982 was a glorious day for the Saints-Wests game at Cogra. For the Dragons, Craig Young and Graham Wynn were backing up from the City Country game the day before, and Wynn had 8 stitches in his knee. Wests were missing a couple of stars in Jimmy Lease and Alan Neal, and Warren Boland was still out injured. Did he ever really play? The first half was trialless, but not without memorable moments. How's this for a touch finder from the man they called Albert, Craig Young?
That's a towering kick by the St George skipper. Will it find touch? It won't. Jeff Case is first there. Yes, it's in a touch.
Sure, it was with the wind, but it was a 60-metre kick. Saints won the scrum, and several tackles later, all but scored.
Showing it beautifully to Johnston, the fullback. They said Brian Johnston's in the score, but it's offside. The pass deliberately forward.
Ted Goodwin and Terry Lamb put together the Magpies' best move of the opening 40 minutes.
Getting it through is Terry Lamb, and Duke couldn't handle the ball. He's knocked it on, so that'll be a scrum.
Wests had held Saints to 2-all at half-time, but must have fooled themselves into thinking they'd done enough. Saints, with a freshening Southerly in their faces, put on two quick tries to Kevin Kelly and Brian Johnston.
Good try by the St George half. Kelly, Trudgett, good pass. No, yes, now he's got it to Johnson. Johnson, the fullback inside, and Graham wins in to score. Lovely pass in field from the fullback.
There was plenty of aggro in the two rival packs that day, and Paul Merlot drew great satisfaction from catching the Dragons asleep on their own line.
Merlot trying to barge over. Can he get it down? Referee says that's a try to Paul Merlot.
10-7 it stayed for 15 minutes until the St George forwards began to stand in tackles. Robert Stone set up John Dowling.
Dowling's allowed to run. He's over.
Wynne was having a whale of a game as Saints began to carve up the Magpies.
He has opened up the West defence, showing it again, showing us some pace as well. This is Kinsella. Wayne Smith gets in. Good pass inside. Quinn puts it down.
With time against them, Wests were forced to push it, and as so often happens with the side playing catch-up, they came unstuck.
Now it's loose. Away they go, St George, racing downfield. Graham Quinn is going to score under the post, and that seals the result beyond doubt now.
A convincing 4-tries-to-1 victory for Saints, 18-7 the final score.
Wouldn't train on Tuesdays, wouldn't play on the weekends, but Arthur, they couldn't win without me.
Well, just looking at those clips there, it looks as though Walker must have watched this game because St George were using a lot of blockers.
You think Warren Ryan's stealing a few ideas back in 82?
Yes, it looked that way there because there's no doubt that Wynne used a few decoy runners there.
And Terry Lamb looking good back in 82 as he is today.
Yeah, he's certainly playing well today. He's leading this Canterbury side from front, and I can understand they're playing this Penrith side wide, and they're certainly making plenty of holes out wide.
Let's have a look at the stats at half-time. Scrums 3-2 to Penrith, none against the feed. The penalties 6-5 to Canterbury. 11 penalties in that first half. Overall errors 26 by Penrith against 11 by Canterbury. Plenty of missed tackles by Penrith early on. And overall, well, pretty even, the tackle counts, 118 versus 115. Metres gained. Remember, it was all Canterbury early on. Penrith starting to catch up, but still the Bulldogs, 865 to Penrith, 661. And time in possession, Canterbury 21 minutes, Penrith 19. The Panthers on their way back out, and Phil Gould, no doubt, not satisfied with the first half. He saw some improvement from his team as it went on, but then conceding that try.
Yeah, just before half-time. That was a crucial try, that, but it gives them a 6-point buffer now. But I'm sure at half-time that Phil Gould would have been underlying one statistic that 26 errors there, and 20 of those came from missed tackles, and also 6 of those were dropped balls. So I'm sure that he'd be looking for more intensity in their defence and also more ball control.
Penrith seemed to be improving just before Luke Goodwin came on, but the move of Ben Alexander into hooker with Goodwin replacing Tude did seem to spark them in attack. They looked a better side.
Well, they're playing well at the moment, but as I said, they let that try in just before half-time. Now they've got to run into breeze here, and as I said before, they certainly do need to have better ball control this one.
Second half, underway from the boot of McGrady. And Guy just pulls it in. He's close to the touchline, stays in the field of play. Van der Voort. And we've got one fresh player on there for Canterbury, number 40, Mitch Newton.
Strange decision, John, to go for the short kickoff.
Yeah, it is. You would have thought they would like to pin Penrith down there and try and get a handy break earlier in the game. But the news from half-time is that Canterbury will be attempting to play that game right down in the Penrith quarter. And of course, Penrith, I was talking to the trainer, and he said, you're going to see a different team this half, so we'll wait and see.
McGrady back on his own goal line. Has been dangerous out wide today, Ewan McGrady, without getting away very often.
And Brokenshire's the man that's off. He's done a good job, but he's I think he's carrying a few injuries.
Here's Newton. Up to the 22. Gillies. Throws it back as he was falling. Skelton. Reardon.
We see the top hitman, Darren Smith, leading the way with 17, along with Simon Gillies, and Barry Walker leading the way for Penrith there.
Lamb's kick bounces away from Leeds. McCracken hunts him down. Good chasing game from Canterbury. Nissen almost lost that ball. Penrith are going to need their forwards to work hard into this breeze. Here's Van der Voort. Clark. Paul Clark likes to hit across field towards the centre rather than hit it right in tight. Cartwright, Geyer, Fiddler. Fifth tackle on the halfway line. And a stupid penalty by Mitch Newton. The defence had contained Penrith for 5 tackles, and then he just had to put that extra push in.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a beautiful tackle there, and here we go. Big Mitch Newton coming up and just pushing Freddie down and giving Penrith another 6 tackles, plus a little bit of yardage to boot.
There's really nothing to be gained by the extra push. So Penrith now just 25 metres out. Clark plays it back. Goodwin, Nissen. In fact, that was Paul Smith in from the other wing as Walker goes up the middle. Back it comes to Alexander. Goodwin. Beautiful ball back to Izzard. Glimpses of the genius of Lord Ted there in the young man. Cartwright straight through. He's a powerful man. He's there. That is a great individual effort by John Cartwright. Very strong man. He's a ball of muscle, Cartwright. He's not small either. He drove through the tackles. Got a good ball on the inside from Fiddler. Beat 2 tackles. 2 more came at him and he carried them over the line.
Yeah, Canterbury paid the supreme penalty for that stupid penalty that Mitch Newton had given away, and we see some bad misses there by Gillies and Skelton. And he has too much power there. Polomouta has no hope of stopping him putting that ball over the line. Great resurge there by...
It was the 2 tackles up front that really were the damage. Skelton must have been caught in 2 minds. He made a totally ineffective tackle, made it all the more difficult for Gillies to change direction. Leeds right in front of the posts, and he levels the scores. It's 12 points all as Penrith hit back early in the second half.
Well, made to pay dearly, really. That was the result of that penalty. There's Fittler sliding across field. Cartwright had the awareness amongst a lot of couple of bad misses, and he's over for the try. Now that's equal the scores up. Not looking good.
Canterbury get play underway quickly. Down to Leeds. And there's Newton. He has to make up for that penalty, and there's some help from Darren Smith, who's leading the tackle count and puts plenty of oomph into that tackle. And he's in for another one with help from Smith. Skelton, Hill, all in there.
Chris Anderson is entitled to be ropeable, really, with that penalty. They've done 5 tackles. It was going to be the 5th tackle, and they've paid dearly for it. This side, with a bit of possession, is just too big and powerful. They can slip balls. They got the ability to. Cartwright went inside them because Freddie Fittler slid across field. He just played it off the top of his head. A good play.
Goodwin kicks straight to McGrady. And he flicks it out to Polomouta. Straightening up. Good pace from Polomouta. Early in the game, it looked as if he was basically a ball player with those long torpedo passes, but he showed them that he can run.
Good run there by Skelton as both markers went the same way.
Colomata, Hill.
A high tackle once again by Mark Geyer on Gavin Hill.
And the penalty goes to Canterbury. 32 metres out from the Penrith posts. Alexander will be spoken to.
And Gavin Hill struggling there, and we see Alexander just flopping there in on Gavin Hill and trying to slow the tackle player down.
Could be a costly penalty because Hill is well within kicking distance here with the wind behind him. He's only 32 metres out, just 10 metres off centre.
Yeah, this is only about a 9-iron, this one.
And that wind's dropped a lot, Warren. Not as strong as it was in the first half.
It's about a sand iron for you. The wind has dropped by half, but it's still an advantage to Canterbury. It was over the 20 kilometres per hour mark in the first half. That's one disadvantage of running into the wind in the first half. Sometimes it can drop away. You have to check with the Weather Bureau, find out if it's going to continue all afternoon. An important kick. Psychologically, Canterbury want to stay in front. Hill from 32 metres, chips at it, and it's there. Certainly didn't give it a big whack, Gavin Hill, but he did all he had to do. It went straight between the posts, and must be a blood bin. He was allowed to take the kick, but now sent to the blood bin by Eddie Ward. I suppose that's a fair enough decision. He wasn't going to come in contact with anyone as he had the shot at goal. And there's Paul Dunn and Steve Carter on the bench.
And Darren Centre on for Hill, the Canterbury side. Darren Centre, a player with very good talent.
It was interesting to see Paul Dunn adjusting his sprigs.
And we're trying to get a little bit extra pace.
Might have been putting in the long ones, yeah. Might have been putting in the sprinters' spikes. Skelton, 30 metres out from his own line. Gillies, back inside to Williams. And Williams has been elusive today. In fact, the side of Paul Dunn raises the question, when will Phil Gould use him?
Well, I think he was a little bit irreparable last time they played against Gold Coast. Paul Dunn did a few silly things in that match, and I think he's paying the penalty for letting the Gold Coast back in that game with a couple of penalties.
Bentley swings away from Terry Lamb's tackle. Alexander, centre in there to help out Smith. Darren Centre wearing 24. Clark on the blind side. Again, trying to surge through the tackles. Walker, one out stuff from Penrith. And now the defence causes Walker to lose all the yardies that he picked up. Good defence. Fifth tackle. Good one. Nissen can't get to it.
A little bit fortunate there because the referee called play on, all on inside, and unfortunately Nissen couldn't get a hold of that bill because they had plenty of support players there.
McGrady, Reardon, Gillies. Good tackle. Diving across from behind was Geyer. McGrady after the quick play the ball. Newton, Reardon, Gillies, great passing. Colomata has got men there. Lamb quickly sends it on to Doolan. He beats Nissen. Nissen came again. Inside the Penrith 22. Skelton straightens up a high tackle. A high tackle. Brad Izzard it was. Eddie Ward would love to be able to check the video. It doesn't appear Izzard will be sent.
No, he won't be sent. He wasn't travelling at any pace here as Skelton. It is high, there's no doubt about that, but the point is I don't think it warranted a send-off. Maybe 10 minutes in the sin bin.
Well, at the same time, it wouldn't have surprised if he was sent off. He certainly cuffed him around the chin, but I don't know that there was a lot of evil intent in the tackle, and he didn't do a great deal of damage, though the player is down.
Well, he did throw the dummy, but Skelton, he was virtually He wasn't in motion.
Maybe he has done more damage than I first thought, because they're looking at the jaw of Sean Skelton. And really, I think, to be consistent, I think Brad Izzard is a lucky man to be still out there myself. We've seen 4 players sent off, or 3 players sent off in the last round. Certainly made contact with his chin, there's no doubt about that.
Had he been at full pace, yeah, it was a send-off offence.
I think the referees should take out a bit of insurance. Any head highs, they just leave them on the field and report them to the league.
Well, that's fair.
Well, maybe
fair
that's,
comment.
yeah, that is fair enough. Why leave the team without a man if you're not sure?
It's not premeditated. It's not like punching or kneeing. It's just a reflex action. A lot of players, of course, they don't want to offend. They know what sort of trouble they can get into now with the 4 and 6 week suspensions in recent weeks. But I think a report to the league is all that's required.
Sure, I absolutely agree. If there's any doubt that the referee shouldn't leave a team with just 12 men, as long as we don't see too many players taking advantage of the so-called reflex to put them in high. McGrady has the shot at goal. He's taken over from Gavin Hill, who's in the blood bin, and he misses.
Now, Gavin Hill's on the field, Warren. That was a strange decision.
Well, McGrady took it anyway. The score remains 14 points to 12.
He'd already called the sandboy in, and Gavin Hill ran on, but maybe it was too late to change, but I don't think it was. I would have given Hill the shot.
Well, here's Gavin Hill now. It wasn't a difficult one for McGrady. It was right in front of the posts. That pass very nearly forward, if not to Newton. And he was flat-footed too. Mistimed his run. Skelton out of dummy half. Newton. Polomata. Polomata still going. He's having a great game. 20 metres out. Skelton. McGrady. Long ball for Gillies. Canterbury controlling it well for 6 tackles here. Lamb. And Goodwin takes it well.
It was good work there by Luke Goodwin. He read that play perfectly, had himself perfectly positioned, and
32 metres out from their own line in centre field. It's Clark. Gillies up quickly on him. Fittler one off the ruck to Cartwright. Everyone's locking up the right arm of John Cartwright these days. There's Paul Dunn warming up. Fittler in close once more. Walker ducks under a high arm from Lamb. 5th tackle, 10 short of halfway. Alexander. A wobbly kick. McGrady's got it covered. Scott Williams with him.
the strange part about Penrith's game is that their kicking game into the breeze has been better than the first half when they had the breeze.
So Canterbury now getting back on side as Patmore plays it. Polomata, Reardon, Vandervoort up there for the ball and all tackle, which attempted to turn into an intercept. Clark's off and done on.
John, I know that young Skelton missed a tackle, but I've been very impressed with his work at the dummy half area.
Yeah, he's pretty keen and mobile too. There's not much of him. But he must have earned his place in recent weeks because they've had a good one there, Geordie Pete's. But I'm impressed with Polomata. He can have a good game every week if he wants to run.
Polomata has been battling to get into first grade and to hold down a first grade halfback spot, with McGrady shuffling around the team positions and Kevin Moore now in reserve grade. He's got his chance. He's playing well today.
And once again we see a great tackle, ball and all tackle by Terry Lamb, and there's another great ball and all tackle by Jared McCracken.
They're frustrating Penrith. It was Guy who took the previous tackle.
Yeah, this defence is starting to lift Canterbury.
Surely, good decision, Eddie Ward. 3 cheers for the referee. At last, a player who's deliberately milking a penalty and a play the ball by walking all over the top of the tackle has been caught out. Cole Bentley's paid the penalty for a dozen other players in the last few weeks. Bentley here, held by Gavin Hill, and then he walks on top of him.
Yes. You're spot on with this decision here. There's no doubt that Bentley has tried to milk this, and he's walking off the mark. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, initially Hill probably was in a tangle with him, but Bentley made no attempt to clear away from him. He deliberately walked on top of him.
And a change in the Penrith side. 43 is Glenn Lydiard. He's on for Colin Bentley.
Glenn Lydiard has had a slow start to the season. He was injured for some time and has only just got onto the paddock a couple of weeks back. Former Parramatta player and a talented one at that. And you would think maybe, John, there's some displeasure in Phil Gould if he's taken Cole Bentley from the field.
Well, he didn't muck around, did he? If that's the case.
Unless he was already coming off. Here's Gavin Hill. Just 6 metres inside Penrith's half. 44 metres out. He hits it well. It's low enough. And it's straight between the posts. Great kick from Hill. Makes you think that the previous goal missed by McGrady. Hill should have taken it. And Canterbury leads 16-12. What a tremendous kick this was.
Yes, he's a great goal kicker, Gavin Hill. Comes from a very high-profile rugby union family at Wellington, and once again, that's probably about a 6-iron.
Penrith down by 4 points. And Canterbury have the win. Not that they've needed it so far. They've been spending most of this half inside the Penrith territory. Newton. Wrapped up by Cartwright, covering up the ball. Hill. Cutting into the ruck where the Penrith defence holds. Gillies. We've got to go back to the frustration the Penrith players were feeling just before that last penalty by Bentley, because the Canterbury defence was very good. And there's another fine kick.
That's a good kick here by Skelton. He just pops himself out from the dummy half area and just shoots away and makes about 40 metres the easy way. See him popping out from the dummy half area there and shooting down that right touch line, and the ball just popping inside about a metre.
I think he held his breath for a while there, Arthur.
Yes.
Penrith with the scrum win. 30 metres out from their own line. Izzard. Fiddler. Fiddler has probably been the best attacking threat for Penrith throughout the game. Geyer tries to take them on.
And there's another good penalty given here by Eddie Waters. We see Simon Gillies come in and flop on after the tackle had been made. We see Mitch Newton and Skelton making the tackle on Guy, but watch Simon Gillies as he comes in. You know, I don't know whether they record them in your tackle count.
That's good consistent refereeing by Ward, because he gave a penalty against Ben Alexander for the same thing earlier.
Well, that's Simon Gillies' third penalty against him. Virtually for the same offence in that ruck area.
Paul Dunn into the fray, and they're 20 metres out, Penrith. Cartwright with Nissen. They're only down by 4 points. There's still 21 minutes remaining. They've got a backline set here as Goodwin. The pass goes to no one. McCracken could have toted ahead, but he decided to play safe and dive on it. But Penrith blow an opportunity. They were well set there to attack. They had players in position wide.
Yeah, a set play. And they're the masters of that, tap plays, Penrith side. But perhaps Luke Goodwin, coming into the side off the bench, probably wasn't familiar with the players as much as, say, a Greg Alexander or Ben Alexander in that position.
McGrady on the wide ball from Lamb. Passes away to Williams, fighting out of the tackle.
Geez, he did well, Jason Williams. He was given absolutely no chance then.
Polymouter under pressure from Ben Alexander, and he kicks it out on the full, on the last. That'll be a handover.
Yeah, we see the pressure here on the fourth tackle. It is, as we see Alexander come up there and put pressure on him, and that's a wide.
Penrith midway between the Canterbury quarter and halfway.
And there's the error count, 16 for Canterbury and a whopping 32, but 25 of those were missed tackles by Penrith, plus some bad passes also and drop balls in there to make up the extras.
Good tackle by Hill on Fittler, who goes again. Flicks it back out to Tute. So Darren Tute has returned. Geyer, done. Ooh, and the timing not quite right as Lydiard was on the burst. Fifth tackle. Geyer running it on the last. The pass inside to Leeds was not a good one.
As well, there's a handover here, the last tackle, and
not the first time in the game we've seen Penrith make a mess on the last tackle.
I'm a little bit surprised, John, that they haven't tried to test out Ewan McGrady with the high ball.
Yes, as Warren said, there's 6 tackle options. Have not been the best today, and we've had handover on 2 occasions, a mistake on another one. I guess if Greg Alexander's there, it might be a little different.
Yeah, John, you would think that the coordination between the hooker, halfback and 5'8" has been disrupted by the injuries. We've had Ben Alexander, Steve Carter, Darren Tute, Luke Goodwin in those positions today, and it's been breaking down.
Yeah, all crucial positions. But you'd swear looking at this that Canterbury trying to commit football suicide. That was a better kick by Terry Lamb, but gee, I think they just got a mistake-free football. Here's a good run by Smith.
Paul Smith it is, up the centre of the field. Came to McGrady, the last man. Well, if they were committing suicide, Smith was ready to drop the guillotine on them. He carved through the defence. Here's Glenn Lydiard. 25 metres out. The pressure building on Canterbury now as they've made a few mistakes. Cartwright. Izzard.
Great
Held by
defence.
Smith.
Yeah, great defence by Smith.
Izzard, a strong man, hard to hold on to. Here's Alexander. Good ball for Walker. Fittler. Still going as Fittler. He's left 2 behind. Looking for support now. Lamb over the top. Fittler still going. He's beaten at least 5 players there. Strength, his biggest asset in that lot. Alexander. Geyer. Cartwright. Walker. Walker goes himself. He scores wide out. And that levels the scores at 16 all. And a player is in the sin bin here. Polomata has been binned. I don't know whether he made a late tackle. If he made...
Well, we just wonder whether this could be an 8-point try.
If it was a late tackle, it may have been some other offence. Polomata can't believe it.
Could have been mouthing off.
Concerted attack. Penrith have had a few chances in the last few minutes. Geyer got it away under pressure. Cartwright did well. Polomata comes across here on Walker. Now what happens here? Maybe Polomata disputed the try.
Some great passes here, and we see a good pass there by Guy and an equally good pass over the top by Cartwright, but Polomata coming across in cover defence. No doubt that he's got that ball there.
Well, unless Polomata was suggesting that one of the passes from Geyer out to Cartwright had floated forward, but I think it was fair enough. Barry Walker represented City Firsts this year and scoring the try out on the wing, backing up well. Now Andrew leads with a very important kick. He's kicked 2 from 2. This is difficult. Metre in from touch. The wind blowing into his face. He puts it out to the right. It doesn't come back though. The score remains 16 points all. 16 minutes to go.
Well, here's Fittler on that run that set up that try. But there he is, being tackled, or getting out of another tackle. There's the drop ball there. That's what Polomata was disputing in the first place, and that's why he's received 10 minutes in the sin bin. So that was a bad error by Eddie Wood.
Well, good work by John and the boys to pick that one up early in the play.
Of course, Eddie Ward poorly positioned on that occasion.
I think that's what touch judges are for, Arthur. They should have gone in with the flag before that try was awarded.
I agree with you there, John. They need to have more involvement in the game.
Barry Walker, the try scorer. Charges up the middle, back inside to Chute, backing up well. They're on the halfway line. They've used up 5 tackles. Alexander, with Gillies charging it down. McGrady, surrounded by the Panthers. The mountain men right on top of Ewan McGrady that time. Doolan sprints down the blind.
That try by Penrith was punctuated by some great handling, Warren. Great passing and handling, particularly by the 3 big fellas. Walker, who scored it, Geyer and Cartwright.
Canterbury paid the penalty for giving away penalties in the last couple of minutes. They stayed in their own half because of their own errors. Last tackle. Gavin Hill foolishly going on with it while his team's in possession. Skelton with the kick. Smith. Smith, who started it all with that good run. And Lamb targets him.
He's still a tremendous competitor, Terry Lamb. He has been inspiring as the skipper for Canterbury, and he's leading the way with his defence. Tremendous defence from a 5'8". He's up there with 26 tackles.
Particularly for a man who's only been on the field for a week or two after a long spell out with injury. McGrady, 10 metres short of halfway. Patmore. Newton got past the first tackle. Lamb. Smith. Oh, he's lost the ball. That was a Hayes tackle. And running away with it is Lydiard. Then Lydiard streaking for the line. Chased hard by Williams. But he has scored the try. The ball lost in the tackle by Darren Smith. Smith is back near halfway injured. That tackle looked a little high on Smith. He coughed the ball up. It was jolted from him. And Lydiard has raced away to put Penrith in front 20-16. Let's have a close look at this tackle. Vandervoort comes in, collared him, lost the ball. Lydiard, well, was always going to score from there despite the efforts of Williams and Doolan. But that tackle certainly looked questionable.
A little bit surprised here because he ruled that Geyer was offside. There was never onside, Mark Geyer, and we see the high tackle by Vandervoort here. How did he miss that?
Well, surely you've got a rule that that was an illegal tackle, and it's led to the try by Glenn Lydiard for Penrith that puts them in front. Well, there's Glenn Lydiard. As I say, a slow start to the season for the Parramatta player. And bleeds. Rubs salt into the Canterbury wounds. It's 22-6 in favour of Penrith. 12 minutes to go.
Yes, well, Canterbury, unlucky decision here, I guess, but watch the ball. What point of contact there? He may have just lost the ball, but debatable there. Hit with a head-high tackle, and Lydiard's good enough to go on with the job. (22-16) as Leeds brings the kick back. We'll have another look at that tackle on Darren Smith in a moment. Here it is in close-up. Smith hit high-ish. As John suggested, the ball may have been slipping from his grasp, but it was a high tackle. Well, I don't think referee Warner's going to be cheered from the field by the Canterbury crowd. Here's Walker right up the centre. Bad defence by Canterbury. Now the pass away to Chute. And that really will rock the confidence and momentum of Canterbury, who are trying to hold Penrith down the other end. Here's Izzard now. Izzard sprinting through the gap. Patmore with the tackle. Inside the 22. Alexander with a field goal attempt. It's good. A good-looking shot, and it's there. Well, there seemed to be hesitation, but that was a fine kick because Alexander was fairly wide when he let that one fly. And what a valuable 1 point. It takes them to a 7-point lead.
Yeah, Penrith riding home on the back with some good forward play, and we see Alexander just set himself there, and brother Greg would have been proud of that effort.
McGrady. Well, Canterbury got themselves into trouble. Oh, this kick's too long, out on the full. Dead in goal on the full. It's a penalty at the halfway. McGrady hitting it too sweetly with the wind behind him. Oh, Canterbury destroying themselves here. John put it well just 10 minutes ago when he said they were going to commit suicide, and they're doing it well here.
Yeah, kicking out on the full, and then a penalty like that. You can't do it against a team like Penrith. You're giving them the ball. You've got to keep the ball away from them as much as you can. Look what they can do with it. Big guys just stepping away from tackles, offloading. I thought there might have been an on-field protest, Warren, after that try by Terry Lamb. There could have been. He did consult the referee.
Well, you would think that they would certainly keep it in mind, but I doubt that it'll change the result of the game.
Won't change the result.
There's Chris Anderson looking very glum. He's seen his team deteriorate in this second half. They really did play some fine attacking football in the first 40 minutes. Fiddler, long ball out to Smith. Took it well too, down near his ankles. 9 minutes to go. It's 23-16 in favour of Penrith as up she goes. McGrady approaches, leaves it for Dunn. Dunn gets the pass away on the ground, and Canterbury have got it.
I thought that would have been 6 more. I didn't think there was any urgency to try and get rid of a couple of those pills there, but the referee, well, with the ball had come off the Penrith player, so.
Lamb gets it back to Gillies. You can see the urgency in Canterbury's play now.
Mistake race. Just as the score has turned around, so has the error count, and we see Canterbury overtaking Penrith in the missed tackle department. 27 missed tackles.
Reardon, long ball out to McGrady. McCracken. Down she goes. Patmore couldn't hang on to it. It was out in front of him, and he was changing direction.
Well, I suppose they got to push balls, but a good idea would be to get it down the other end of the field first.
Metres gained, dead even effectively. Canterbury well in front early on in that first half. Now's a blood bin as Steve Reardon leaves the field. And Scott Tronk comes on for Canterbury.
John, I was just wondering what Norm Provan, Steve Rogers, Peter Provan, Steve Neen and Henry Holloway and Bobby Bugden have got in common.
I think they all played for the same junior club, Arthur.
That's right, Sutherland Junior Rugby League. They're having their 80th anniversary in a couple of weeks' time, the 7th of June.
Some great names there. And Penrith trying to lock this game up with Dunn. 20 metres out. Shoot in a dummy half. Cartwright. Fittler. They're attacking. Then a great tackle from McCracken as he sweeps in on Bentley. Well, Penrith not content just to lock it up. And Fittler off his left foot. We used to say that Fittler could step off both feet, but these days we mainly see it off the left. Alexander kicking, but that's well taken. Diving on it. Was it Polamatta? Was Polamatta back on the field. 15 metres out from Canterbury's line. Tronk, Scott Tronk, who spent much more time in reserve grade over the last 12 months than he would like. Former Queensland Origin player. Here's Newton on his 22. Polamatta, Lamb, McGrady. The defence has never been far away from McGrady today. They know what a danger man he is. Could well have been a penalty there to Canterbury. Lamb's deep kick is a good one. Leeds sent right back towards his goal line. Plenty of room for him to move. He heads away from centre into the arms of Newton. Smith. So Penrith just outside their own quarter, but possession is the key. If they don't make any mistakes, there's nothing Canterbury can do about it. 5.5 minutes to go. 23 points to 16 in favour of Penrith. And Nissen has come in from the wing to help out the forwards. Cartwright. If there's one team that should know how to win a game like this, it's Penrith. That machine I referred to earlier in the day really does know how to grind out a win if they have to.
I'll just shut it down now. I'll just play field position. Rely on a good chasing team.
McGrady trying to weave away from the tackles. Williams has beaten tacklers today. He's off again. Vandervoort chases him and gets hold of him with Dunn. Canterbury on their own 22. The Penrith defence leaves no way through. The centre has another go. Darren centre. And the referee gives Canterbury the penalty. Says that he was held onto as he tried to play it forward. And quickly they go on with it. This is the way they started the game, Canterbury, with urgency.
This is right, with just under 5 minutes to go. We see that once again there's a penalty there against Penrith. Barry Walker, the culprit, is pulling back the tackle player.
In that case, Barry Walker may have been just a touch unlucky. Tronk in centre field, 30 metres out. Canterbury with a back line. Skelton from dummy half. Skelton goes straight through. Can he find the support? Polomata was coming up, but he couldn't get there. That pass has been given after the tackle was completed.
Well, this is a tough decision because it looks as though that Eddie Ward is probably positioned about 15 metres away, and he's stood up and tackles. Guy has had a crack at him there, and
Skelton with the ball.
Well, they were forced him back. It's a tough decision.
Well, what's wrong with blowing your whistle and then telling to play the ball instead of saying held? I mean, the heat of the moment, they're not going to hear that.
And Eddie Ward, he was positioned 15 metres away, John.
God, they got some problems.
Well, that was a tough call. It's a very important call. A good ball unloaded there by Skelton. And Canterbury only 25 metres out. 3 minutes to go. Canterbury need more than a converted try. Toot. Just short of halfway. Walker. He hasn't stopped the working. Barry Walker. He's topped the tackle count and taken the ball up hard. Nissen. Quick ball to Fittler. Leeds. Out to Bentley. Bentley chased by Gillies. Good tackle.
Oh, great hands then out the back line. Those hands remind me of Phil Hawthorne. He had wonderful hands. He's up there at New Lambton, Phil. Hope you're going all right, mate. We're all thinking of you.
As Dunn gets it to Lydiard. He's left it behind on the ground. And Penrith had 2 men down.
No, it's not Barry Walker. It's a Mark Guy down and out.
I think there was a collision between the two Penrith players, so they're short as Gillies gets a pass away to Doolan. 2 minutes to go. Dyer wobbly, but he's back on his feet. 23-16 in favour of Penrith. Polomata. Newton. Needed to get it going quicker. They needed a sharper man in there than the big front rower. Lamb switches it. Skelton, that pass, well, forward if anything to Polomata. McGrady, Gillies. 5th tackle. Geyer is going to charge through, but McGrady kicks it's not easily taken by Nissen in the end. Alexander had to cover it. Alexander plays it forward. He was pulled back, but it's Rafferty's rules out there, and that played the ball either way.
We have the line.
Touch judges in.
Yeah, the touch judge came in from the far side. He's seen something in this incident.
Well, here's Alexander playing the ball forward. Polomata had never marked him. And this looked like the short jolting forearm went in for McCracken, which is foolish football by McCracken, to say the least. I mean, his team has got to play on. They don't want to chew down the clock like this. He's virtually handed the game to Penrith.
Well, the penalty could have gone to Canterbury. Ben Alexander never released the ball at any stage.
But then again, neither was Polomata back, and Alexander.
I realise that, but I'm saying the first infringement was Ben Alexander not releasing the ball.
Fair enough. Well, Penrith aren't going to shoot for goal. They're not going to risk losing possession as the clock ticks down. 15 seconds to go. They just want to take the tackle. Been a grueling game in many ways. Well, they are passing it around. Why wouldn't you just hang on to it? Why take a chance on an intercept? And the full-time siren sounds. Fiddler has one last dash, takes the tackle, and a controversial game. These two teams have battled it out. Penrith have ended up in front 23-16 on a controversial try.
So from Belmore Sports Ground, the home of the Bulldogs, the 2 points go to the premiers Penrith in this split round 8 of Saturday Super League. It takes their premiership tally to 10, keeping them in touch with the leaders in the race to retain their title.
3-16 for Penrith, the try scorers Bentley, Cartwright, Walker and Lydiard, 4 of them in all. Leeds kicked 3 from 4 and Ben Alexander the field goal. For Canterbury tries to Polamater and Pat Moore, and Hill kicked 4 from 5. Let's go down to John Peard with Brad Fittler.
Right, Brad, you came from behind. How did you see the game?
Well, you know, I've never seen Penrith play this bad before, you know. Canterbury, to their credit, played well, and they had a well-controlled game, but I think, you know, if we're going to go and win this comp, we're going to have to play a lot stronger than this.
Well, you sound like you're pretty disappointed there, but they did give you a hand in the second half. They made some terrible errors, and errors on the last and kicking out on the full. That's got to help your momentum.
Yeah, well, it does, you know, then you get a few sets of 6 at them, and it doesn't give them a chance to get a bit of momentum going. So, you know, they helped us on the second half, and I'd say they've been very disappointed with their play.
Okay, thanks for that. Your feet are going well.
Yeah,
I like them.
Good. Yeah.
Brad Fittler certainly was the best of the attackers on the Penrith side today, I thought. But we will hear a lot more about this game, and the crowd booing Eddie Ward. Well, a rousing round of boos for the referee as he left the field. He's not a popular figure here. Let's have a look at the reason for that. In the lead-up to the Penrith try, which put the Panthers ahead, there was a mistake made. Fittler, it is, with the ball. He lost it there, manages to scoop it backwards, and play goes on, and it looked like it was knocked on.
Yeah, well, he wasn't in a good position to see this ball, and we can see where Eddie Ward is positioned. You'll see that he's covered by a number of players there. He's directly behind Fittler.
Well, the referee can't be everywhere. I suppose he can't be blamed for not seeing it, but Fittler got away with that, and then they went on to score a try in the corner. So that's what the Canterbury fans are booing about. That game has gone right down to the wire. Penrith winning by 7 points. Let's find out who was Beatson's best. John Cartwright gets Arthur's nod as the best on the field, and he did lead from the front in the middle of the first half when Penrith were struggling.
Yeah, both captains were exceptional today, but John Cartwright, backing up from last Wednesday night's game, scored a try and also was involved in one of the other tries.
All right, the rest of this split round to be completed. Penrith have got their points that they needed to threaten that top 5. The rest of the round looks like this. The Gold Coast play Parramatta tonight, and then Norths versus Canberra tomorrow, St George versus Brisbane. And I think the Gold Coast can beat Parramatta tonight, Canberra to beat the depleted Norths, and then St George to just get home against Brisbane. That match down in Adelaide. Hello to everyone in Adelaide. Hope you get along and see St George and Brisbane in action. Hope you enjoyed that game.